If you have ever been frustrated with hand lettering a double S, then this video is for you. Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. My name is Susie, and if you are new here, today is Letter Together Friday. And in today's Letter Together Friday, I'm going to show you how to break down a word into individual strokes, practice those strokes by themselves, and squish them back together to create a word. I have a free printable worksheet for you, so I'll link that in the description box below. You can find it in the resource library on my website. And typically I like to give you a chance to guess the word based off of the strokes at the top, but I think that the title of this video will probably give it away. So today our word is blessing, and blessing gives us a wonderful chance to practice the double S combination. Now, if you've never struggled with a double S, I'm so glad for you, but this is not my favorite lettering combination. And if you've never tried a double S, then this is a great place to start. So let's just get right into starting with these basic strokes, and then we're going to talk about some different ways to create double S's once we get to that stroke. So breaking down our individual strokes here, you can see we have a downstroke, another downstroke with a curve. We have this one right here that is not part of our basic strokes. That is why I like doing these videos, to break down the strokes, because yeah, we don't usually see that one in our individual strokes. We have an E, and then this is going to create our S. We have an underturn, a downstroke, a compound curve, an oval, and then a loop. So we're gonna practice these one at a time, but first let me show you how it looks when we're writing blessing. I am using this brush pen that I'm supposed to be saving for a pen haul, but I cannot stop using it. So I will hopefully get that pen haul filmed for you guys very quickly, because I just keep using this pen. I really like it, and to me, well, I don't want to give too much away, but I really like it. All right, so here we have our word blessing, and we can do different variations of these strokes and change this up. That's the joy of hand lettering. We can have it, we can add loops here, we can add loops to our L, we can change the bottom of our G here, but I think this is a really good basic beginner style, especially if you are trying to learn a neat and even hand lettering style. So let's just go ahead and practice our downstroke. This is a great warm-up even if you're not a beginner. And with this downstroke, we are going to pull the pen down towards ourselves, which means we're going to be applying more pressure with our brush pen. So we're going to create a thicker stroke than we would get when we are going back up with that pen. Now I'm going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So the next stroke we have here is that second part of our B. Now sometimes you can do this by just creating this shape and then adding a straight line, and you can connect your B that way. That might be a little more simple, but I kind of like the way this one curves around. I think that's a fun way to add some style, and I just like those little curves. So I have created this one where we're going to start right here, and then we're going to go up lightly, press harder, and then come back around, and that is our second stroke in our lowercase b. Now the next one, we have a downstroke with this little tail on the end. It's kind of like a half of an underturn. So we're kind of creating this stroke, but we're starting from the top. And then here we have our E. We're gonna start right in the middle here, light as we go up, and then as you go around you're going to add a little bit more pressure, and then light as we go up again. This is a great one to practice if you are struggling with those transitions around different curves. I know that it's easier, like if I'm doing watercolor, sometimes it's easier to like lift up your pen or start up here and then come back up. But with a brush pen, I do recommend to kind of try to practice being able to do that in one stroke if you can. But I'm not a huge stickler on rules when it comes to hand lettering, so you do what works best for you. Now here we are at our S. I'm going to show you how to create the one that I have here, but we'll talk about some different variations once we get down to the words. So the S is going to start out very simple with just this downstroke, and then as we come back up and around, it's kind of taking on a similar shape to the second stroke in our B. So this should hopefully, as you practice, feel a little bit familiar to you. And I think this is a good intro to that tricky double S. The next one we have is a compound curve, an oval, and then our loop. And we have practiced these before. If you are new, you can go back and watch the very first one of these videos. I've kind of called them 10-minute tutorials because I used to try to get them done in under 10 minutes. I don't know if that's a great name for them, but if you like this style of video, I do have a playlist with just these. And we do start with the main or basic strokes of hand lettering. So if you are new, definitely go back and start there. There are free worksheets that you can find in my resource library. And then I will also link the playlist that's just all the Letter Together Friday videos from the beginning. Again, if you're new, they do kind of start with the basics and build on each other. I tried to make it just super simple for you to follow along, whether you have been here from the first day or whether you're jumping in months later, so that you can just go back through that playlist and kind of watch one at a time and work through some of these worksheets and videos with me. I hope that helps you as you practice your hand lettering, and I hope it helps you to build a really solid foundation for your hand lettering. All right, so now we are going to move on to putting these all together into one word. So I'm just going to show you first of all the way that I've written it before we get into any variations with the double S's. And again, I think this is a great beginner style or great for anyone who is wanting to create that neat and even hand lettering style. One thing I want to show you with connecting from the first S to the second is we have to go down far enough so that this part of our second S is going to run into the end of our first S, if that makes sense. So if I do not come down far enough, I'll show you what that looks like on the next one. I'm going to have a gap here. So because I came down far enough, then I'm going to have to do like kind of a deep jump back. My printer's going off. I'm so sorry. Then I'm going to have to do kind of a steep jump to go back up. Then I will not have that gap here. But if I don't do that, I'll show you what that looks like next. So if I just go like that, I haven't come down very far. And this is okay. If you want to have a little gap there, that's okay too. But if you are not wanting that and you're finding that your S looks like that, that is the trick. You need to go a little bit further down with the end of that first S, and then it's kind of going to be a quick down and back up. So if you need to really, really slow down at that part, that's totally fine, but that may be where the frustration is happening if you're finding that you have a gap here. So let's look at a couple other ways that we can create double S's, but I do want to tell you, if this is something that you are looking for more help in, our next Letter Together Friday video, I'm going to show you the same word and I'm going to show you a bunch of different styles so that you can practice a bunch of different double S combinations, and I'll have a worksheet for you there as well. So stay tuned for that next Friday if that's something that you are looking for some help on, but I'm going to just give you a little overview here so that you can practice those in the meantime if you are looking for another style of double S besides this one that we have here. So the first one is going to be similar to this one, but instead of pushing down and coming around like this, we're going to kind of create an S that way. So we're gonna go like this, and then we are going to have a gap there, but it's an intentional gap. So this one is very pretty in my opinion, and also pretty simple. All right, so for the next one, we're not going to do a print S and we're not going to do a cursive S. We're just gonna do something like kind of in between. So this is going to look a little bit different depending on what type of a pen you're using, but since I have a pretty small brush tip, you might be able to see the loop depending on how big we get. So we're going to start here, kind of like our cursive, but then we're going to do a loop at the top. So this one is probably the trickier one as far as the tops go. I'm going to do it a little bit larger so you can see what I'm doing here. So that essentially is what we're creating, just on a little bit shrunken level. If that is difficult to you, one of the drills that you could practice to kind of help prepare for this one, if that's the look that you are going for, is you could do this drill. So we are kind of doing this. This is kind of what we're doing for that double S. We're just kind of changing the bottom a little bit. And honestly, you could do your double S like that too if you wanted. So these are just a few different ideas, but definitely if you are a beginner, I would stick with this one for a while. I should also tell you that if you have struggled with different letter combinations, I actually do have a video that is different tricky lettering combinations. And I go through some of the common tricky letter combinations and show you different ways to create them. And I worked really hard to make them really pretty, even though they're tricky ones. So I will link that video at the end of this one if you want to get some more ideas for different tricky lettering combinations. I hope this is helpful for you on your hand lettering journey. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful weekend, and I will see you in my next video.